comic, Pat Jankenson.
I mean, you're a little toy. You up the song? Also let me do sound effects. Something mine. Certainly not going to abuse that. But yeah, we're doing a weed show out here. It's interesting, you know. It's great that the weed's been legalized and everything. I do love that. But it's still weird that even in this day and age, there's such this double standard between weed and alcohol, you know? If you're a drinker, you could go to any bar anywhere, you could just sit down, you could go down any street, find a bar, get a drink. You know, with weed, you have to go to these dispensaries, even though they're common, you know, you can't just be sitting, you can't just sit in a public place and get stoned, you know? It's all regulated still, whereas alcohol is just anywhere. And if you ask these people about it, they'll cite these studies where like they'll compare a person who smokes weed every single day to someone who doesn't. It's like, that's not what you should be comparing it against. You should be comparing someone who smokes weed every day with someone who drinks alcohol every single day, you know? And if you make that comparison, it's really fucking obvious which one's better, you know? They're both, if you abuse either of them to any sort of extreme, they're both sort of like captains. They'll both take the wheel of your life. They'll both take it in a different direction. But they're very different captains, you know? Like Captain Alcohol, he has like a big scraggly beard. He's got like a big scar going down his eye. You know, he talks like this raspy pirate voice. Only Captain Alcohol isn't actually a captain. Captain Alcohol just watched Jaws a bunch of times. He thought that Quint was really badass. So he just decided to walk into Denny's with one of those sideways taco hats on and just start yelling at the other patrons about jib lines and rigging up the main sails, you know? You know, Captain Weed, he just showed up at the docks one day dressed as Captain Kirk. Thought he was applying for a job aboard the USS Enterprise, the Starship Enterprise. But his vibes were so cool, they let him come out, they let him hang out, you know, they let him put on his little captain uniform, and everyone loved him. So everyone loves weed. Your whole body loves weed, you know? Because your body it's like a ship. You got, you know, your internal organs, they're the people shoveling coal in the bows. You got your white blood cells, they're like the security guards. And then up by the helm, you got your brain and all your neuromuscular system. They're keeping everything in check up there. And, you know, and when weed comes aboard, everyone's just chiller. He makes the vibes better for everyone. Everyone likes weed there. Alcohol just barges right up on the decks, just barking crazy orders at people. And he just walks in there and just, these be dangerous waters. Because alcohol, he talks in a pirate voice even though he's dressed like a World War II admiral. He just does it with so much conviction that nobody has the balls to call him out on it. He just goes in there just, first mate brain. Raise up the confidence and lower the impulse control. Bowels, on the torpedoes. I have a feeling we'll be dining on Taco Bell this evening. And my brain is just sitting there like, dude, impulse control is already in the red, man. Like we're struggling to keep him from just headbutting strangers and just eating food he finds in the ground. And this man does not need any more confidence. Like he doesn't need any more. Never mind enough confidence to think he can totally do a sweet kickflip. Even though he just drank 5 Four Locos and he's never ridden a fucking skateboard before. Alcohol just yells out, I said raise up the confidence and lower the impulse control. While we're at it, cut power to motor coordination. Now it's like 5 minutes later. The ship somehow hit a fucking iceberg even though it's just left the harbor. Alcohol's like climbed up on the mast. He's just got a flag in his hand that nobody remembers him walking in there with. He's just singing in a terrible Irish accent, just, oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. Meanwhile, Captain Weed's just down there in the control room going, I'm no engineer, but I don't think these pipes should be exploding like that. This ankle-high water, this can't be regulation. No. And then as soon as shit hits a fan, alcohol is gone, and who's left to take the blame, huh? Captain Weed. That's how we ended up where we are today, you know? Yeah, on the subject of us stoners, how did he end up with the release of these new Epstein files where stoners suddenly became like the voice of fucking like we were the ones who were right about all this shit. Like we went in a single document dump. We went from the most trusted voice in America being Walter Cronkite to some guy cronked out on wedding cake, you know? Like honestly, like the stuff that's in those Epstein files, like you'd expect to hear that shit like from some dude in a college dorm somewhere, you know, just, woo! Oh man, you know those QAnon people? You know those QAnon people who are saying all this stuff about pizza and how there's this elite cabal of pedophiles? I mean, what if, hear me out here. What if all of that was true? But what if, here's the big twist. What if the guy who decided it was a good idea to fund that shit actually was an elite pedophile? What if he met up with like Steve Bannon and the guy who created like the 4chan, that QAnon website? What if they had a bunch of meetings right before this Pizzagate stuff dropped, you know? And suddenly that's the freaking truth. Right? Like finding out that QAnon was funded by a billionaire pedophile, that's like finding out, and as an adult, that Santa Claus is real, but that he only gives out presents because he wants to teach children not to convert to Judaism. You know? I mean, it's crazy. And there's so many crazy things in these Epstein files, you know? All these famous people. Bill Gates. Unfortunately, I had an actual printout with all the stuff from the emails I was going to cite, but I did not bring it with me. But the Bill Gates email, like, you got this email Jeffrey Epstein sends to himself, sends to one of his assistants to send it to Bill Gates, and he lists off all the things that he has on Jeffrey Epstein, like in this sort of sly way. He's like, "You're going to do that to me after all the stuff I did when you got that STD from that Russian hooker, and how I gave you the meds that you could dump in your wife's coffee, and the description of your penis." It's like, how the fuck? Number one, how the hell is the richest and the most powerful man in the world giving his wife antibiotics in her coffee? Like these are supposed to be the best, the brightest minds. This guy could have bought a fucking massage parlor. He could have bought a massage parlor, like bought my favorite massage parlor, sent her out there, sent her to get a massage, gotten some kind of antibiotic for the fucking STD he got from the Russian whore, had that applied to her back while she's getting her back done. That would have cost him like what it cost me to get a fucking espresso shot here, you know? He could have done that so easily. Instead, he goes to Jeffrey Epstein, and he tries a plan that like your drunken uncle is supposed to try. Like you're supposed to come to Thanksgiving, like, hey, where'd Aunt Melinda go? Well, it turns out, Uncle George, he fucked these Russian whores. And when he got the clap, what he tried to do is he took a bunch of antibiotics and he tried to serve it to her in her coffee. And what's he doing? Like, oh, don't worry about why this drink suddenly tastes like medicine. And then Jeffrey Epstein said, I could blackmail you with the description of your penis. Like, not that you have a small dick, like, what kind of dick does this guy have? Is it like shaped like a candy cane or something? Does it have like is it like a mushroom, like a big head, this tiny little shaft? Like, what does he got going on down there that he blackmailed like that, you know? And then Elon Musk. Like, how is it that you could be the richest man on the planet and still be too uncool to get invited to parties? Like, he is worse than me with high school, and I didn't have a fucking multi-billion-dollar for it. He's sending this up to Epstein. When's your best party? He's like, Epstein's like, why don't you come down New York City with the UN General Assembly's meeting? I will show you a good time. And Elon Musk responds, I'm busy with CEO of 2 companies. I have far too much time to be worrying about what some diplomats are going to say at some boring garden party. Like, how can you be that inept? I swear to God, he's worse than, like, he's somehow worse than I was in middle school, but as like a 40-year-old, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff in these Epstein files. A lot of weird stuff too. Like at one point, one of Jeffrey Epstein's friends says, "Oh, are we going to be meeting up in Paris for a pedophile convention?" And Jeffrey Epstein responds, "The correct pronunciation is pedophilics. Is the correct plural." I guess it's good that he cares about something, you know. And so I guess it's the same way. We all have our hobbies, you know. Someone starts talking about it, you start hitting them with big info dump. I guess we've all been there. But then those Epstein files can get fucking dark. There's some dark stuff. There's an FBI report on the Epstein files from a guy who says he was working at the Zorro Ranch on a bunch of bodies, and they found he said he was there, 2 people were accidentally killed during rough sexual intercourse. He said he knew he told him exactly where the bodies were on the ranch, and he tells him location. No one ever followed up on it. But what I want to know is, how do you accidentally strangle 2 prostitutes? Well, like one prostitute, all right. We all make mistakes, you know? Like everyone makes mistakes. How do you accidentally strangle 2 prostitutes? That's what I want to know. You know, like, really just like, I can only I get an erection once a year. I have to see someone die to get an erection. So either you get in here right now, or we're gonna have to start back from the beginning. Like, how do you accidentally kill 2 hookers in this family? I don't know. But my name is Pat Jankenson. Thank you very much.